guys, how are you today? Hello. Today I was going to give you a little lesson on resining. So I've already poured my resin. So I get my resin from John from Sanded at Long Jetty. And so there's part A and part B of epoxy resin. So this is what gives it the glass finish. So one is the stuff that makes it shiny, and the other one is the hardener. Now, I've got it mixed up here in a plastic cup. They are, if you were to see it, you'd see the two different consistencies. So you've got to mix them together, and I just use a swizzle stick, mix them together really well. How I use John's, how it comes, is you use, obviously there's the bigger bottle, so you use 100 mils of the A and 44 mils of the B. Now, if you're doing a bigger piece, for example, if it was a bigger piece and I kind of like worked out I wanted 200 of A, and therefore I would have 88 mil of B, okay? So this is the particular one that I use for art because it takes longer. I've got longer work time. I've got about 20 minutes or so work time. I'm using Pro on this one, and this is a placemat size. So for this one, I'm actually using 100 mils and 44 mils of B. So it's 144 mils altogether. So I can feel it heating up. So, and with the Pro that I'm using on this, which I use also on the coasters, it is a higher, has a higher temperature resistance, about 80. So you can put something 80 degrees temperature on it without it sort of indenting it or marking it or so on and so forth. So I use that on coasters. This is, I'd also use it on a placemat. Now this one is actually going to be an art piece, so, but I'm still using the Pro anyway. So, because I've got with Pro, I've only got about a 5-10 minute work time before it starts to go tacky. So I don't use Pro for any resin art. I use Surf Flex on this one, and if you remember, this was all pure resin, and then I used the acrylic cell activator. Now the reason I'm putting another coat on this, and I better start going because it will go off, is because when I use the cell activator and blew into it, yeah, so you see I've kind of like poured, and it's just enough. Okay, so the reason I'm giving this another coat is because it has rivets and dints in it from the acrylic. Now what I do is I flood it, and then I just disperse it with my fingers. Okay, so it goes to the edges. It is going to drip off here, right to the edges, but this is what gives it the nice coverage. Pretty well sure. Oh no, I've got a bit there. Now, yeah, because it's clear, it's a clear coat. It's like giving it a coat of glass. Now I just find it quicker and easier to work with. Obviously, always wear gloves with epoxy resin, and always, if you're working with epoxy resin, make sure you're in either a vented room. Now, if you guys know that have been to my classes here, you'll know that I'm in like an indoor-outdoor area. So I live in a Queenslander, so my studio is all underneath. Now it's covered on the sides. Down one side's got a wall and everything, but one side it's got those clear cafe blinds, sort of, and there's a doorway, and then 3/4 of the back there behind you, behind the camera, is all open. So I've got massive ventilation here. Now all I'm doing is here, but if you're in an enclosed room, you would be wanting to wear a mask, okay, because epoxy does give off fumes, not so much with the art epoxy as surfboard epoxy resin, and this you can use this on surfboards, but you know, it's mainly for art. Now, so what I will do here now, after I turn you guys off, that's it. That's resined. That piece is resined. Now, what the epoxy does is gives it a clear three-dimensional coat. And all I'm doing here, and I will continue to do after I finish with you guys, is I will continue to keep taking the drips off. I mean, I could leave it just drip, but it just means that it's going to be a lot more orbital sanding the epoxy off the bottom. Like I said, this one, I don't have to worry about it getting totally, I do want it smooth, and I probably will have to sand it off just a little once it's cured and dry. Which will be, I'll be able, this is now about 3:30 in the afternoon. This will be tacky, like I'll be able to touch it in 4 hours without gloves on. But I won't sand it till, I'll be able to sand it tomorrow morning. I'll be able to flip it over, it'll be hard enough. The Surflex, the one that I can work with longer, that I would have to leave for a good 12 hours before, or 24 hours before I could flip it over. It takes longer to cure. I will put all of the details of John's details and his website in the descriptions below. I'm just going to, I didn't bring my torch with me, I'm going to give it a quick torch. Okay. The reason I give it a torch once I've done everything, which is nice and smooth over there, the reason is to get the air bubbles out. You probably won't be able to see them there, but I can see them. So what you do with the torch is you shake it over the top, and I can see the air bubbles, because there's air bubbles in this because of when I was mixing it. And air bubbles just weakens the resin, and this also helps to smooth the resin out. Resin is a self-leveler, but it also does help to smooth this out as well. So it's heat resistant, as you can see. However, you can burn resin, hence why I'm shaking the flame over it. I don't want to sit it in one spot because it will burn the resin and that'll make it crinkle. So we don't want to do that. I'm just making sure all the air bubbles are out of it. This torch is nearly running out, but I will bring you down for a close-up in just a moment, and you will see the 3D-ish effect that this has given. Oh, this has just brought it to life again, just giving it this second coat. It actually looks like, and my son wants this one, so I'm actually going to mount this one on a white frame, and I'll show it to you when it's all done. But he loves it because it looks very, very opal-y. So let me bring you down, and a close-up. Very, very, oh, that light. Oh my goodness, I have to go that way. Alright, so let's see if no. It just has brought up the colour in it. Okay, and when you look at it at different angles, it reflects different dimensions to the art. Not sure if the camera's going to really capture this, but it is. Oh, there you go. See if we can. If you were to look at that with the naked eye, it does give it very much a three-dimensional look. You can see deep into it, sort of thing, but very opally. So that's for my son. And yeah, like I said, I'll give John's details. Keep a watch out for that in the description. So scroll underneath the video, you'll see the description. Click on show more, and it opens it right up. All right, guys. Hope that's helped you, and you guys stay safe. And I will. Oh gosh, that light's bad. I will talk to you. There we go. I will talk to you real soon. Stay safe, stay isolated, and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.